What exactly will happen with the Bitcoin through the end of this week and especially on Monday, which is a very important day. And we'll also talk about the most undervalued crypto narrative at this stage. We all have to understand it's not about the narrative. It's about where the upside is the largest at each given moment of the market setup. Because this is where good traders are coming to, they're attracting liquidity into these narratives as well, and they essentially start to flourish very nicely. We will discuss this. We'll take a look on alts that are underperforming at this stage, on the alts that are outperforming currently, and position ourselves for the next movement in the market as well. Make sure to watch this video till the end, like this video, and without further ado, let's start. Let's start with our Bitcoin situation. What we can see here is something healthy that is actually happening. We are forming huge liquidity in this area. And this is exactly the resistance area. You might say that we got rejected several times from here, which is a huge liquidity area by itself. And right now we are kind of forming this huge liquidity, which is very healthy, to be honest. This sideways consolidation, it essentially means that shorters and longers, they are battling heavily currently, bears versus bulls. They are pretty much deciding the outcome for the market in the upcoming several weeks, if not even months. It's a very important piece of situation. And whilst we can see that in the last several months, bears were just winning. They were just dumping the whole thing to zero. They were specifically winning in a very harsh way, liquidating a bunch of money from the marketplace. Currently, we do have this crazy sideways consolidation for many days already. I would even say that through all of the range that we've been through, we never seen this amount of time, this amount of days to actually, and I can even say that through all of this time when we are in this sideways chop, downwards chop, which is very hard to go through, we never had seen this amount of sideways consolidation of consecutive days. This is a very healthy setup at this stage. And logic wise, to explain what essentially is happening is that some people are selling at this stage and some people are buying. However, we definitely see that in comparison to previous times, we have way more buy pressure, and buyers, bulls, they're essentially holding the price right here. And as saying in crypto, if something does not dump at certain level, it will probably pump moving further. We will have our $65,000 level for us to break through and consolidate above it and continue to move up. This will be the final confirmation of the scenario, because there is still a range of market participants that do not want to enter in certain positions at this stage. Probably after this move up, right, through all these movement, I do think that these market participants, they're still waiting. They're still awaiting us for retest, maybe at 61, the one that I was essentially sharing previously, right? And we do have some things saying that it might be happening. However, once you would be above 65, this would be a clear confirmation for people to turn risk on, to enter the markets, to enter longs, and I do believe much more liquidity will be essentially entering at these levels. And I don't think it's essentially done randomly, because we have a huge liquidation, shorts liquidation wall right here. If you can see 65K, quite large liquidation wall right here exactly. And at the bottoms, we do have some certain liquidity at 62.5. That's why essentially yesterday I was sharing that I do think that short term we might be seeing 61K for BTC. However, thus far we are holding these levels quite nicely. And I think what should be happening this week is that we should be in the chop into the end of the week and into the weekend as well. And the situation that will be happening on Monday will essentially dictate the overall market outlook for the upcoming several months. As you know, I'm on the bullish side. I'm on the side that we are going to see 75, 80K in the short-term time frame as well. This is the current situation in Bitcoin as I'm seeing it right now. Coming back to most undervalued crypto narrative as I'm seeing it right now, I do think it's actually gaming. And what we have to think on the best meme coins after meme coins. So these are meme coins that people who are holding alts, they still like to invest and bring the capital into. However, at the same time, these meme coins, they're definitely a bit safer and a bit easier for retail as well, because retail still wants to buy them, but they have this mind frame that this is not casino and they can actually be buying into them and accumulating them as well. Two narratives that are most performant ones in these two categories that I just essentially explained are AI and gaming. And I would say that already in AI, we already saw a huge move up from one of the largest AI tokens, right? The only AI holding, for example, I have is NQAI, which showed, I think, already 3 to 4x from the bottom. So I think it's one of the most performing AI coins. Right now, I'm telling you that NQAI will be in billions, and it's actually a working product, which is very, very interesting, because with most of these AI products out there, what are you buying is vaporware. They're kind of like expecting, or they're telling you that they will be doing certain things, but they don't have the working product. It's all very, very basic. It all can be done by a junior just spending his evening essentially on developing everything that they have. NQAI is actually a decentralized, uncensored LLM on chain. This is just crazy. It's essentially chat GPT uncensored put on chain. Just for you to understand what I'm talking about. A couple months ago, I was researching on the topic of occultism in Nazi Germany, right? Chat GPT, all the analogs, all the stuff, they gave me shit. They gave me zero information about the topic. NQAI gave me all information, some info from the books that I was not able to find on the web anywhere. It was giving me chapters from this book and essentially telling me what are in these books. And it also gave me a list of books that I essentially ordered right after. This is the power of uncensored, decentralized chat GPT, right? Just think about it. And I do remember one of the huge predictions that I saw at the start of the cycle. One of the guy that had like a bunch of followers on Twitter, probably a bunch of money as well. He was saying that prediction that he has for this cycle is that someone would put decentralized uncensored LLM, which is essentially chat GPT, on chain. And I do think that like this is essentially a working product. It already works. It already told me everything I wanted to know about occultism in Nazi Germany, right? About all this data that is hidden, that is classified. It told me everything. And you cannot find it anywhere. You cannot find it like ChatGPT just give you shit, just some basic stuff like, oh, they were not practicing occultism. Yeah, they did not have any technology. Yeah, the nuclear bombs were invented by USA. Yeah, there were no flying saucers. The bird expedition was just the expedition to actually local animals in Antarctic, right? They didn't tell you this. This thing actually tells you this. This is crazy. But coming back, based on essentially Tau, BitTensor, I would expect that a lot of AI coins at this stage, they essentially had this breakout as well, right? Well, at the same time, things like IOS, they definitely did not have this breakout. And as mentioned, we have the same exact pattern on most of these things, which is essentially a reverse head and shoulders, which is the pattern that you should look, right? And here we kind of did not have the confirmation that we are above these levels. And once we're above these levels, this is just a clear long from these levels. At the same time, you might be able to long right here. You're kind of longing into the resistance. So we are longing based on the fact that we think that the market will continue to move up and have a stop here essentially around these levels as well. So this is how you can be treating this situation currently as well. Kind of basing your longs and basing your opinion on the fact that larger performers in the category, so someone like essentially a BitTensor, right? Here, like it had broke through clearly this structure as well. So I would say that right now we're in a very, very interesting situation because something like IMX, which is gaming, right? It definitely confirmed the breakout as well. And it has this first consolidation in order to continue up. And you can see that it's already actually continuing up. This is one of the easiest long out there. And based on the IMX situation currently, I would expect that essentially we do have the same situation on most of the alts as well. As you can see, we have this resistance level right here, right? We touched it here a second time. We had this second drawdown. So you might say that this liquidity level already actually played out. So you would probably want to focus yourself on different liquidity levels. 2.7 for IMX. And if you're thinking that the market is essentially bullish and we're continuing the bullish price action, this level should just get passed with ease, right? And then it's essentially back to all-time high. Then it's essentially back to the prices right here. With IMX, you have to be a bit careful because I think market cap situation is a bit different from the price situation, right? So it might be a bit heavier than you're thinking. However, in comparison to the AI, there is definitely more opportunity from gaming coins as I'm seeing currently in comparison to the AI overview right now. Something that I actually longed myself and something that I would like to check out is also Meve. You kind of can see the same situation with 3 lows right here and the middle one being like the lowest. We did not yet went through this resistance at this level, right? So the situation here is even sooner, and maybe some people might say that we actually might come back into the range. I'm just playing based on the expectation that the market will go higher from there, and the nice stop level is essentially at these levels to make sure that if you will be the signs that we're reversing the upwards movement, you would essentially be stopping the trade and getting at least some of your money back from there. To me, I'm just longing this thing based on the overall overview on the marketplace, and these are the charts that I think you should actually be looking at this stage. And I think that gaming has one of the largest upsides essentially in terms of all of the market currently. Super is essentially something that is one of the main tokens in gaming ecosystem as well. You can see exactly the same chart, 1, 2, 3. The only difference is that in my case we're still here. However, super is already there, right? So super wise, you might say that your upside might be quite limited. At the same time, it definitely confirmed the move up right here. So from this level to here, it pretty much were free money, free 30% long, right? Right now we're at this consolidation level. I would say that super is essentially one of the most performing coins of the cycle because it was not dropping much through March and April, right? Because range of gaming tokens, unfortunately, during that time, they were not doing quite well, right? I'm speaking mostly about low caps, right? So Beam, exactly the same chart as I was mentioned, right? 1, 2, 3. Exactly your setup for longs, right? We confirmed the move up. So I would say Beam long is very, very safe currently at this stage. It's also a larger cap, so you probably won't have large price movements and price calculations as well. But what I'm essentially focusing on is obviously shitcoins, is obviously low caps. And when I'm seeing something like this happening, and when I'm seeing that some people are trying to still focus on altcoins, and when I also understand that altcoins, they're definitely like the sentiment is kind of at the bottom, they're definitely kind of oversold at this stage. Don't get me wrong, I still think that meme coins will outperform altcoins 100%, and we will see a huge capitulation from altcoins into meme coins. It's just that currently at this stage, these people are still trying to make the money in altcoins, not understanding that unfortunately they will underperform heavily. I would say playing altcoins currently can only be done with leverage in the first place, or essentially if you're buying into some low caps, right? If you're buying into some nice, juicy low caps altcoin wise at this stage. So you might even say that the charts of larger gaming coins and larger AI coins, they kind of look the same. And your goal is to find the coins that had this breakout already and just long the shit out of it with clear stop loss, because it's a very, very nice trade. Like you might be going as high as this level right here from the current levels. It's just a very, very safe type of movement that major coins like IMAX, like Tau, in these categories, they already did that, which definitely gives us a certain conviction in the fact that these things will essentially repeat them because people are still scared, and all this liquidity will eventually be coming into the low caps in these categories as well, which is a very, very important thing to understand and important thing to follow. We can also see that the Bitcoin dominance at this stage is trending down, and the expectation from the market is that it will essentially continue to trend down as well. I would say that altcoin longs currently have very, very high chance that this actually would be the longs that you would be able to hold through the whole cycle, right? Something like DYDX is actually bottomed. So in comparison to the previous charts, like it didn't have this even breakout right here, right? It definitely, you might say that it's definitely like a more heavy asset because it has $600 million in market cap currently, but we also see a reversal pattern scenario right here. Pretty much long in DYDX is essentially free money currently. I do think that this long is something you might be entering to hold through the whole cycle. The stop loss that you would probably have currently is not that short, right? So, but if you would be longing with 4 to 5x, that's just essentially, I would even say that these are the easiest money. You just be able to hold this thing through the whole cycle. And it's interesting that with small corrections on the marketplace, I doubt that this thing is correcting much currently, because you can definitely see that just the chart is bottomed at this stage. It's almost like long in something like SUI back at 0.6, right? Back at these levels. Exactly the same exact pattern as you can essentially see. Some people are taking profits on this SUI. They're saying, oh, we should probably go down for a correction. It obviously depends on the market, but I don't think that something like this will be happening. I think that these assets will just continue the price movement. It's just that SUI is one of the top performance currently, and it has a very, very small amount percentage wise to actually reach all-time highs in this cycle. You just have like 40 to 50 cents. That's essentially around 30% for SUI to reach previous all-time high. I actually do think that this might be one of these tokens that will be reaching one of the first in terms of all of the altcoins in the market, reaching these highs. And I think that after that, essentially liquidity will come into SUI meme coins out there as well. But this is the pattern that you're essentially seeing on most of the alts currently. That's why these are essentially one of the easiest money in the marketplace currently at this stage. Last but not least, something I wanted to focus on as well. Currently, all of the liquidity in the crypto market, 95% of altcoin liquidity is focused in altcoins, 5% only in meme coins. Do you understand what type of capitulation actually awaits us? Do you understand that if you're holding long-term do you understand that if you're holding long-term meme coin assets, what type of capitulation will actually be seen here? It's just crazy. Like, even if meme coins dominance would just reach 50% in this cycle, it will already be 3x amount of the liquidity. And you might think about the liquidity currently, but later in the cycle, we have a projection that the amount of liquidity will actually be larger. We have maybe about like $3-4 trillion for the whole crypto market. The projections are that we might be seeing somewhere from 8 to 12. And at the same time, meme coin dominance should be going up over time for the main reason of essentially people underperforming heavily sitting in meme coins. I would say that, yeah, at this stage sitting in altcoins. I would say that at this stage with altcoins, you can be making nice money if you're essentially playing with leverage with them, or if you're buying into low caps. Obviously, depending on how much money you actually want to take from this market, because some people, they just want to invest some funds just to hold through the whole cycle and then just sell. And this is essentially, over time, it's probably the best strategy out there, because with all this like trading, things like that, you're definitely adding unnecessary risks, and the more actions you make in the process, the higher the chance for the mistake is. So this is my overview. I do think that currently, we should be focusing on narratives and categories that are appealing to retail, and that altcoin people still like to invest because they essentially serve as meme coins for altcoin people. These are AI and gaming, right? And I do think that gaming is heavily underpriced currently, along with AI especially, but it kind of just feels that AI is a bit higher in terms of the pricing currently, and prices for gaming, they're still pretty much, for a range of projects, they're still near the bottoms, especially if you're speaking about the low caps. And this liquidity rotation will be coming in 100%. And I would say that gaming tokens at this stage is something where you can be positioning your capital currently in order to essentially capitalize on it heavily. And I do think that you can also be opening some longs for the gaming coins out there currently at this stage. This is it from my end. Thank you very much for watching this video. I'll be seeing you tomorrow. Bye-bye.